Welcome to our collections room at the SullivanMunce Cultural Center. I'm Christina Huff. I'm the museum director here. I'm going to give you a look around in our room. Most people don't even realize that this room is up here. It's actually above the museum room, and there are thousands and thousands of things here that we preserve and keep and have available for people to see in exhibits and to research. We hope you enjoy looking around. We have storage space for items small and large in our collections. We have photos, documents, and even furniture and other kinds of objects. This is a coin that was found in a garden on Pine Street. The house was at 515 West Pine. The house is no longer there, but we have the coin preserved in our collection. It's from the Mills and Cropper Furniture Store, a discount token from around 1930. Mills and Cropper has a long history in Zionsville. E.S. Cropper sold furniture in the 19th century and built coffins. We actually have some coffins in our collection, although we don't know who constructed this particular coffin. This is an example of something that E.S. Cropper might have created. It's from around the 1870s to the 1880s. There are many other large items and of course tiny items too. Many of our items are stored on these rolling shelves. They allow us to move them so we can store more items in a smaller space. Within our collection, in addition to objects, we have many documents and letters, written items, and of course books. This is an example of the books that we have in our collection. It is a collection of ordinances from the town of Zionsville in the late 19th century. Here is an amendment to the 1878 ordinance, an ordinance prohibiting hogs or swine from running at large in the town of Zionsville. So it gives us a look back into our town's history. These are things that we have available to researchers. They help us answer questions and look into the past so that we can find the connection with the Zionsville we see today and the Zionsville from history. Every item in our collection has an identification number and an assigned place in our collections room. A few years ago, a volunteer sewed tape onto our textiles that show the number for each item so we can find its identification number and know where it is at all times. In the early years of the museum, volunteers, the directors, the curators would accept new items into the collection and assign them numbers, but they didn't have the benefit of the technology we have today. In 2007, David Roofer created a searchable catalog in the form of a spreadsheet. In 2015, we were able to upgrade to purpose-designed content management software. That software allows us to add more details about each item, the story of the item. We can add names, we can add the address if it's a photo of a home. Since 2015, we've been adding those additional details, adding photos and scans of items, but it's a continuing process and there's so much more to do. The thing about our collections is that everything relates to Boone County or Zionsville, the area around Zionsville, and the stories are what makes it a treasure to us. When people donate objects, we're hoping they will tell us the importance of it, where it was used, who made it. Here are a couple of examples of items that were made in Zionsville. This blanket is a wool blanket from the late 19th century. It was donated by Jesse and Bernice Philippi in 1973. But the thing that makes this very exciting is they gave us details about the history of the blanket. In the donation paperwork, they wrote, from Bernice Brock Philippi, "My father Frank B. Brock raised the sheep, sheared the wool from the sheep with hand shears, then rolled the wool tied with string, put it in a farm wagon, pulled with 2 horses, and drove up the old Michigan Road to Liebhart Woolen Mills, about 3 miles from Zionsville, the boundary of what was Zionsville at that time. In about 8 to 10 weeks, he would go and get the blankets." So this blanket was created entirely in what is now Zionsville. The sheep lived in Zionsville, they were sheared in Zionsville, and it was milled at a mill that is now within the boundaries of Zionsville. It was used in Zionsville and later treasured by a family and eventually donated to us so that we can share it with many other generations in the future to help people understand what life was like and the way people lived, the things they did day to day in the earlier days. Here's another item, a little newer. It's a costume dress. It was owned by Marjorie Parks. She was the first president of our museum guild and a dedicated member of that guild. She was born in 1910 and passed away in 2008. This dress she wore at the Centennial Celebration from Zionsville in 1952. And she wore it again at the 150th anniversary celebration of Zionsville in 2002. Later, she donated it, or her family donated it to the museum so that we can remember those times, those celebrations. And I think it's a wonderful way to remember that our day-to-day lives and our celebrations today are going to become history, the history that we're talking about in 50 years when we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the SullivanMunce Cultural Center. I hope you enjoyed having a look around. Please enjoy your time at the museum, and I hope the next time you'll remember this exciting space and all the treasures we have up here.